Souls lost so young, at the prime of their glimmer, a sudden crash course into forever. The primordial songs lost in the ocean of potential. The music we can only dream of hearing that keeps us up at night. This is why I burn in the valley of the artist, why I must create.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
Welcome in. Today we have Solomon. Yes, I'm so happy to interview you. You are so talented. Solomon is so multifaceted. He is a singer. I actually first met Solomon at Freeside, Atlanta, singing and playing the guitar. But later I learned that you were also a dancer, a phenomenal dancer. You also play some other instruments as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that today, and we're going to dive into his journey from the beginning to now. So just like how we like to start off every interview, what is on your yogi tee?
This is the second one too, so it means that this one was the one meant to be. So it says, life is best lived by focusing on your goals and dancing through all other distractions.
Wow.
Hey, that's perfect.
Yes.
That's honestly so real.
That's very much on time and on point. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Honestly, yeah, life is best lived by focusing on your goals and dancing through all other distractions. Yeah, I think of like that as like dancing is like, I feel like a lot of us have these times of like moving through like liminal spaces, like those like in betweens, those like that. It's like that space of like, oh, this is the unknown, this is in between, like something has happened and now it's like waiting for something, like something's ended. It's like, well, what's the next like beginning? What's the next arrival? And I feel like anytime I dance, I feel like I'm in that space where it's like like I can't be certain. And obviously I'm using dancing as a metaphor, but it's also like the actual thing I do. So I like that dancing can be this like way that I can move through something. And then by the time I get to the end, like if I'm having a session by myself or if I'm having a performance where it's like an improv performance, I come to the end and I have like a known, like I have something that's like, oh, like I have clarity on this thing, or like I feel like I unlocked something and now we're about to see over the next few days what that thing was. Like I felt the energy move. So yeah, I feel like dance is a great way. But I think what dance represents to me is like also just, it's it's kind of like I guess this whimsy, you know, it's like being whimsical, being like engaged in your sense of play, like the spirit of play. Because I heard someone say that, I'm trying to remember exactly where I heard this, but it hits for me right now. It's the in order to like have miracles happen, you have to be moving to the frequency of unknown, because miracles can't happen when you're always like in the know. It happens when you're in that unknown place. And so that's why I think it's almost like saying, okay, focus on your goals, because a lot of good unexpected things are gonna happen if you have a good like spirit about yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a message, the way you interpreted that, that's something that I needed to know now. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know I was gonna say that.
You just went in. So what was your introduction to music? What got you started on your music journey, and what was the first instrument that you learned?
Oh, the introduction to music. That was actually one I've been thinking about this. Because I think I always just liked music. I always just liked moving. Like even before I could really dance, like I was just like spinning in circles and doing cartwheels in the living room to music playing. And it was always like we'd have music playing. I just have a memory of like being in like the family room, and we had like the stereo system, and we turn it on, like the CD would be on, and it would be like maybe me, my sister, my brother, and it's probably before my other sister was born, or maybe she was a baby, but we like put on the music and we like march in a circle, but we like march and we dance and we like spin and do all this stuff, and kind of felt like very like now when I think about the things I do now, I look back at that, I'm like, that kind of felt very like ritual-esque, like being like in tune with the music and like the sense of, like circles and what that evokes. And it's like moving energy, especially doing it in a group, and it's like kids, But my introduction to music, I think it was always around. And it's interesting because some people I think can talk about music in a way where they're like, well, my parents, they put me on to this, and like they was like really like, you gotta listen to this, check out this album, know this artist. But like my mom was mostly playing stuff, but she wasn't really like talking to us about it. Like stuff would play, but we weren't really being like formally introduced to things. So I feel like my introduction really happened when I can't even pinpoint it, but it was just like the way music made me feel. And then I would visualize, like I'd hear music that made me feel something, and then I would think like visually, like I'd think of like a stage. I think of like, what does the performance look like, and then that would make I'd be like, well, I'm like really in this, and then I was like, I want to know what that is like to be that person, like the way I'm seeing it in my head. I'm like, what is it like to be on the stage doing that and to move? And then I'm like, well, the music moves me, like how does it move me? Like how can I move my body?
Right.
And then I started learning how to like move my body, and then I was like, well, I want to learn how to dance. And so I feel like that was really like my introduction to music was like how music made me feel, and then being like, well, what are the ways that I can like express this? Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. You mentioned your siblings. How many siblings do you have?
Yeah, so I have 3 other siblings. I have my older half brother. I have 2 younger sisters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I always thought it was just you and your sister.
Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, I like how you express the ritualistic aspect of it, and then the visualization of it, and then imagining yourself in the motion on stage. I mean, performing it and putting yourself in that shoes. I think that's how it starts too, a lot. Because speaking with other artists, I noticed that they would visualize themselves in the position of being the artist, and then living that reality now into adulthood. I think that's it. So yeah, and I could see that type of dance through your movement, because your dance reminds me of lyrical and hip hop, like lyrical type dancing.
Yeah.
And hip hop and like the dancers like you may see at church, like with the ushers and like,
the worship dancers.
The worship dancers. I said ushers, not ushers. The worship dancers.
Yeah.
Yes, and the and the miming and stuff, like very expressive in that way. Yes, so that's awesome. So as a growing and developing artist, what are your goals with your artistry, like with all of the things that you do?
Honestly, and I think there's a few different goals. I think right now I tend to think about like the current era that I'm in. I'm like, all right. Like because sometimes you can get so far ahead of yourself. You're like, well, I'm trying to do all this. I'm trying to be this big thing. And I think when I was a kid, I thought about stuff more like that, and it just wasn't. It was harder to make it as tangible that way. So I was like, okay, I think about the eras in my life. Like, okay, what is this current era? And I think this current era, like one of my like aspirations and goals within my artistry. One big important one is like community. It's like, because I've been building community, and like even like leaning into that more is like, that's how I met y'all. Like, that's how I was in. That's how I got to be in Freeside. Was like being open more to community, and like I really want to think more about building a community of like even just around my art. Like, it's because one thing I've learned is like you can't do this by yourself. Like, you really can't. Like, I think maybe it's the individualistic like nature of, I don't know, maybe just America, and when it comes to a lot of things, but it can even like be there in art too. But just think that you're like, all right, well, I got to get out the mud. I got to do it like this. It got to be me. But like no one's ever doing it by themselves. So I want to like really have a team of people who I care about, who I trust, who I can like really move with and create with. And it doesn't have to be like, I don't have to be like the center of attention. It's like maybe a thing where it's like we're flowing back and forth. Okay, like who are we really pouring into right now? Like who really needs it? Who's got something that they're trying to push? And okay, we have these tools. Okay, it's kind of like now because I love supporting other people too. So as an artist, I love to show up and see other artists perform. I like to like someone else has an album release thing. I want to be there too. Like so, even just like that whole aspect of being a community, being a supporter of other artists, but also like I really want to build my rapport of being a storyteller, just like on the stage and like when I do my sets and stuff like that, because I really enjoy the intention I put behind like what am I performing, and like maybe it's songs that I performed before, but like on this specific day or this specific week I'm going through a certain emotion, I'm moving through a certain theme, so like the way I present it is different than I did the week before. So I want to continue, like I feel like that's what I've been doing, like really building my reps to like be outside, show people who you are, like and it also gets to, for me, I get to figure out like, okay, what are the stories that I want to tell through doing that, because I feel like it's like the fun part about it is like discovering like, oh, there are stories that I have to tell that I don't even know want to be told yet. And I think the act of like showing my art, like giving my art to people, helps me figure that out.
Yeah,
so
you mentioned. Yeah, you mentioned storytelling, community, which are two things that are important, especially in today's time. And I feel like with the music industry changing anyway, I feel like it's more being intentional with your music and using your music, or using your artistry, I should say, and using it as a tool to connect with the community and to build something special is more valuable than money can buy. So I think that's really where we're moving towards, and also to create a better world for ourselves, because like everything seems kind of like a little chaotic right now. in this year, just from the beginning of the year, from our president kidnappings.
It's crazy how like
I don't even want to talk about that.
But it's crazy like how many things can like, it's like we're getting bombarded with so much stuff that we're like, damn, you can so easily forget that happened.
Yeah.
You're like, damn, that did happen.
It's just like one thing after another. Like this is like I feel like I'm watching some type of movie. Like
no, it does feel like that.
The takeover of the AI and corrupt fascist government, like, but but I feel like that's why artists are special, because we can think up of a new world.
Yeah.
And we can tell stories and connect, and it's a reason we have a reason to come together is the art itself. And we can feel like art creates it's like an energy, like music specifically too, just the vibration or the frequency that it emits, and then like other people just sharing that with each other is so sacred. So you have a song out called Gas Prices.
Yes.
So can you tell us about that?
For sure I can. That was a great experience, like making that song. It's a collaboration between my friend Nathan, who is also my youngest sister's boyfriend.
Okay.
He lives, they went to school together in Williams College, but he lives in San Francisco. So we did this collaboration like across, like he was in San Francisco, I was here in Atlanta, and it started off with just my sister was visiting last summer. He came for a time, and I already know him and everything. But I think we just really been liking like where we both were at, and he had an interest of like, I want to make music with him, and he expressed that to me, and I was like, oh, I've been wanting to make music with you too. Like I would really like, because he just, the way his mind works when it comes to just like sound and like the things he's pulling from, like it's just something I was like, I want to be a part of that. So
it's a unique sound. It reminds me of like a country song kind of.
Yeah, and so it's funny because that played a big part into like we started off with conversations about okay, like what have we been listening to lately? What's been inspiring us? For him, it was a lot of like cowboy music. It was a lot of that's what, like cowboy stuff, like Western stuff. for me it was like a lot of like alternative rock, blues, and so we were just sending songs back and forth and like, yeah, like listen to this, okay, check this out, and yeah, we just honestly we were just kind of, and then we're just checking in on like life. I feel like anytime I do a collaboration, it's like I have to have those just conversations that actually have like almost nothing to do with the music, or seemingly have nothing to do with the music, because you talk, you go back and forth, and it's like, all right, like how's your life? Like, that's how I'm doing. Like, and then you just talk about stuff that just comes up that you might not think you would talk about in a music collaboration, but it was just nice to check in and like have some passionate talks about whatever it is that's been on our minds. And at some point, he was playing around with something, and he just sent me this guitar. It was like something he was kind of looping. It was just a little this guitar thing that he was playing with, and he sent it to me one day, and he just said, "Hey man, like you don't have to like this. You don't have to do anything with this. This is just I just want to show you like something I was playing with." And you know, with like artists, like sometimes when you like have an idea, you just randomly name the file. You're like, all right, I'm just gonna call it this. Like, I don't know, like you'd be like green banana or something. It's just like something random. He had named it gas prices.
Okay.
And I was just like, huh. And I was just like, I like that name. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I listened to the guitar recording, and I just had it on a loop for like, I was driving back home from somewhere. I just had it on a loop for like maybe like an hour. And I just was humming, I was singing to it. And this crazy context, but it was also the day Charlie Kirk got shot. And so it was, I was already having a lot of thoughts of just I was just like, like, so that was just a weird background to like, but it was also like, it's just that energy of like, of just that day was just so interesting, cause I was I'm trying to be careful with my words, but yeah, I was just like, you know what, like, it was hard. It's hard to like, when people tell you that you're supposed to care about something, but you're like, it's so many other things going on.
Yeah.
I just genuinely don't. But sometimes things like that are a representation of like, yeah, like shit is wild. Shit is wild.
It's a lot going on.
Yeah,
like even with the president, even with the shooting at the White House.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people are like, did that really happen? You know?
Right,
and then you don't even have it, like, a lot of people don't even have an emotional reaction behind it. They're just like, okay, like, just another thing, you know?
Yeah,
I feel like
we're so
becoming
desensitized. Yeah, exactly. We're becoming desensitized to a lot of this stuff.
Not good.
And also people are like, the thing I was thinking about that day, like, when people just like, you know, online going back and forth, some people like, y'all celebrating the man's death and da-da-da-da, y'all crazy, and all this stuff. And I was just, the thing I was thinking about was like, damn, like, people can't even afford to like live. Like living at a bare minimum, like some people are struggling that, and like the line between who is surviving and getting by and who is below that line is a very thin line. And like for a lot of people, it's all it takes is one bad thing that happens, one emergency to put them on that other side. So especially with things where they're at right now. So I was thinking about all that, and gas was starting to go up at that time. Not like it's gone up in the last, you know, the last month has been crazy. But I was thinking about all that. I'm singing the song, and I'm just like, I was like, well, I was just thinking about how do I incorporate the word gas prices, and I was like, I just kept singing like, with all these things on my mind, gas ain't the only thing that's on the rise. And I was like, oh, so I in my head I was like, it's a very like country western kind of blues influence feeling song.
Yeah.
But I was like, what if I wrote the lyrics that in a like an anti-blues way, where it's like I'm not down like in my blues, but I'm like, nah, something's coming.
Yeah.
That's how I really felt, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's how I wanted to feel. I was like, no, something's coming. So that's how I'm gonna write this song. I'm gonna write this song in a way, and I always like, for me, I need the first line needs to be like, if I get a good first line, everything else can like really flow. So I'm just singing the same line over and over again. Right when I pulled into my driveway, I just think, you know, everything, a lot going on in my mind that day. And I was just like, and then I was just singing. I was like, baked into every war, holy feels that burn into my mind. And I was like, oh, that's the first line. And I just went inside and I wrote the whole song within like maybe like an hour and a half. Like,
Wow.
I sat there, wrote it, and then I just recorded the demo, sent it back to him. And then he said, he's like, this is like, it was kind of like, I think we got it. And then we just kept going back and forth on like how we built the sound. and he's incredible when it comes to production, when it comes to sound, and being able to add in like these really interesting sounds that don't overbear like what's happening in the song, but really add like great layers to just the like sonic experience. But yeah, gas prices was really like how I was feeling at that time. I feel like the key lyric of that song is um what is it? I gotta sing the lines. It's kind of like doing the ABCs. You gotta like get it's like baked into every wall. Holy feels are burning to my mind. Only as far as I can throw myself is where I feel desire. It's so close that I can kiss it. Maybe I can feel alive. Oh yeah, I think it's brimming on the outer edge and waiting to arrive. That to me feels like that's like the heart of the song. Like I think it's brimming on the outer edge and waiting to arrive. Like this thing, like when I was talking about like miracles or like things that like it's like an arrival. And the way I pictured it in my head, it's like I see like it's like the earth. It's like an outside view of the earth. When the sun, like those like shots of like where the sun like starts peeking out from like the side, and you see the light starts to shine on that part of the earth, and it like spreads.
Yeah.
Like that's how I pictured that. It's like it's like this thing brimming on the outer edge, waiting to arrive, but it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not this like oh like we're all like fucked. Like
yeah.
It's like this good like oh no like something good is happening. It's an energy. It's a build up. And even you see the way I was thinking about like the people. It's like there's a lot of crazy shit going on. But when you look at like the people are like no, like people want they're sick of like the way things are. But people are like taking action. People are like really like no, we're not about to put up with this. But they're really doing it in more calculated ways now too. And that's really inspiring to me, and seeing like how communities able to pull together. Like we have actually really like strong leaders who are doing things, who are very like unsung in certain ways, where it's like we don't see all the work that they're doing like really like postered everywhere, but there's people who are really doing the work. And it's inspiring to like lock in on these people who are really like very actionable activists, and like but also are very centered on love, but also like being like, but we're also not gonna take shit.
Yeah.
And so it's just a good, and I feel like all that energy kind of feels like the song, but it was also very personal at the time. It was like I was like I don't know what's next for me, and I was stressing about just thinking about trying to just live day to day sometimes. So I still listen to that song as like encouragement for myself. So yeah.
I can hear everything you're saying, even more so now that you say that, and I hear like it's like a bluegrass type sound to it, and yeah, it is very your inflections. The inflections in your voice are positive. They bring a positivity to it. So, where are you from originally?
Yeah, I'm originally from Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm originally from Wisconsin. That's where I grew up. I was in just outside of Madison, Wisconsin. I was in Fitchburg, and then I was in Verona, and then I was going to college in Madison because I got a full tuition scholarship on it was like an art scholarship. So I stayed there, even after high school. So then I went to college in Wisconsin, and finished right around right when the pandemic hit. So that's where I was initially. And I wanted to get out of Wisconsin. I think I wanted to get out of Wisconsin since I was like 10 or 11.
Why?
Because it's not a lot of representations of like culture and blackness there. Or when there is, it's like it can feel very like limited, like very like narrow. Yeah, and it's just it was it felt like a container that I was like I don't think I fit here. I always felt out of place.
Big. Like, you're too like your light is too much for to be contained in an environment like that. I could see why you would want to leave that environment. I never gone to Wisconsin before.
Yeah, so. It's people. I guess it's Wisconsin Dells, the Great Lakes. I guess that's a good part of the Midwest. The Great Lakes, the Wisconsin Dells. I guess Milwaukee, Chicago is like not too far from us.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like I was always trying to get out as often as I could. I was like, I'll go to Chicago. I'll go to Minnesota because I have a lot of dance community and like really good homies in Minnesota. So I was catching buses to Minnesota a lot. But then I was in Connecticut, so I moved to Connecticut after I was done with school. I was like deep in the boonies because that's where my family moved to. And then I came down to Atlanta. I've been here for about 4.5 years now.
What brought you here?
See, people ask me that question. I feel like the answer, sometimes I'm like, I don't even know the answer. Like, it was just one of those things that for some reason at some point I became fixated where I was like, Atlanta. And I had a few experiences like coming down to Atlanta when I was in college. And I was just like, dang, like I've never experienced a place quite like this before. You know, having like, you know, maybe like a friend, like being like, oh, these are the spaces I go to. This is my community. So you get a real like personal look of the city, a personal look of like that experience in those spaces. And I was just like, damn, like I want to like, it just felt right. And it made me like reflect a lot of my childhood, you know, when I having that experience here. And when I was in Connecticut, I was like, I need to get out of here too. I wanted to get out of Wisconsin, but I was in Connecticut. I was like, well, I got to get out of here too. So I was like, I just fixated on Atlanta. I said, Atlanta, that's where I'm going to go. And I kept saying it over and over again to myself. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. It is the pandemic. It is like things are kind of, they're making those type of transitions. It just felt a little like, I don't know, a little bit more unfeasible. But yeah, but I used that time in Connecticut like I feel like very well. I was out in nature a lot. I was like probably the time where I really like connected deeply with nature during that time, because a lot of nature out there. But yeah.
It seems like you follow your intuition. Like you're very intuitive when it comes to making your decisions, and like you know, you're like, no, this doesn't feel right. I need to rethink this. So that's really powerful too. I feel like that's not always an easy thing to do. People get clouded with their own thoughts or the words of others, you know. Yeah. And because to move to a different state and then to move here by yourself, that takes courage. So, yeah. And Atlanta's special. I love it here.
Yeah.
It's just something different. Something about I don't know. It's in the air. Maybe it's the trees that we're surrounded by.
Right, the forest city. I swear, it felt like a perfect transition from like Connecticut, because I was surrounded by trees out there like on the regular. Yeah. A lot of state parks and stuff. So being here, like, and having access to nature while I'm here is like so nice. It's like a city, but it's like, oh, but I can go to like the Chattahoochee, or I can go to like Stone Mountain or Lake, or like, you know, all these different places where it's just like, oh, like there's a lot of like waterfalls, Amicalola Falls, like a lot of access even outside of Atlanta, like just in the Georgia area or like the Carolinas with the Smoky Mountains, like a lot of really cool access to great nature. So yeah, I love it.
And then the people too here, I think a lot of people who migrate here are also really interesting. The natives, people who are here, you know, born in Atlanta, raised in Atlanta, they're awesome too. So it's just a special culture here. So how many instruments do you play, and what kind of instruments do you play?
Yeah, so really, I really play, like, I really enjoy just playing with sound in general, but as far as instruments, I play guitar, and I play my saxophone. And I started those probably around the same time that, like, early middle school age. You know, like middle school, you know, you're first getting into band, and saxophone just felt like, I was like, yeah, the sax. For some reason, I just knew, I was like, yeah, the saxophone, that's what I want to do. And so I was playing that. I just liked the way it felt. I loved the way it felt when, like, playing it. Like, it felt like a very emotional instrument. And the guitar picked up around the same time. And then funny enough, I put them down about the same time. Like, I was 12 up until about 17, 18. I was playing very regularly, and then I was transitioning because I finished high school a year early, so I transitioned into college when I was like 17. And yeah, I think I was just trying to figure out like what paths I wanted to take in my life, and I think those things they became things that I feel like other people had expectations of like how it was supposed to look for me.
Right.
And it was like clouding my judgment of like, well, what do I want to do with these things? And I didn't have like maybe the representation or the knowledge to be like, well, how does it look like for me, you know, personally, instead of like, because the way other people were doing it, I was like, this does not look appealing the way y'all are doing it, at least what was around me. And so I put them down, and I was like, you know, like, it was like a way to protect it, where I was like, I'm going to put it down because I don't want to hate these things. So I don't want to hate playing my saxophone. I don't want to hate playing the guitar, but like right now I'm just frustrated. So I put them down, and it wasn't until I moved to Atlanta that I started like like I had the moment, like really strong moments of like where I was like, no, I'm gonna pull out my saxophone again. Okay, I just feel how does it feel just putting it together. I was watching Pharoah Sanders. I saw a video of Pharoah Sanders. He was playing saxophone under like a bridge, and it was like I just randomly one day I just saw it, and I was like, wow. And I was getting all these signs about the saxophone. I was like, bro, I gotta pick up my saxophone again, because I kept having this longing feeling, like it was kind of like a heartache when I would hearing the saxophone. And I was like, damn, I really want to play it again. And I saw that Pharoah Sanders video, and I was like, you know what? I pulled it out from under my bed. Cause my mom was always like, even if you don't play them, like just bring the instruments with you. Like bring your saxophone with you, bring your guitar with you. And I was like, all right, fine. Cause I just did it more so to appease her. I didn't know if I was ever gonna touch them again. But I remember putting it together, and it brought back all these memories of like being in school and like getting ready for jazz band, like you know, and then I was like, damn, this is crazy. And then I was like, well, let me see what I remember, and I started playing along to the video, just like improvising. I remember like I started crying like while I was playing, and I was just like, damn, I missed this, like, and it was just like kind of like this portal opened up in my heart. I was just like, you know what, okay, like let's keep playing this, let's keep going. And then I got back into guitar maybe a little after that, but mostly after I had a really bad like work accident about a year and a half ago, that like almost like very like life-changing experience, because like I thought it, you know, I came out of it and being like, oh, I didn't think I was gonna survive that.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I woke up in the hospital. Like I don't even remember like it was like I got hit by a semi. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I didn't have like my memory was gone and stuff. Wow. And like it was like the middle of the night, no one's in the hospital room. I was like, what's going on?
Wow.
And I was like, yeah. But that was like that experience like brought me back to really like, you know, when I first met y'all and being at Freeside and like playing my guitar and singing again, like that experience kind of directly tied to me doing that again. Because having that experience and being like waking up in the hospital and being like, oh, I thought I was dead until I woke up, and being like, and that was just such a jarring experience. Even the doctors were like, I don't even know how you kind of got out of that. Like,
wow.
And yeah, I just was like, oh, like it kind of felt like, oh, I get another chance to like actually live how I want to live. So I was like, you know, forget all the stuff, like, and I was already transitioning into being like, no, I'm going to do more of what I want to do, more of what I want to do. Like, this is my life. But in that moment, I was like, oh, life is really precious. And I knew someone who I was cool with back in my Minnesota community who had died a couple months earlier from a car crash. From like it was an accident, and so that was even like I was even thinking like, oh, like why do some people survive things and why do other people not?
You know, it's so interesting that you said that, because I had this weird thought the other day, and I was debating if I wanted to share it or not. But I was like, what is death exactly? Because like, what if people who had near-death experiences did die, but they are experiencing a different reality? Like their consciousness kind of moved to a reality where they are alive. I don't know. It sounds weird, but it's just
no, it doesn't sound weird. As someone who went through that,
yeah, it's just a thought that I had like yesterday, and then you said that today. So I'm just like,
no,
that's really interesting, because like I'm just like, what? Because I think I have a lot of loved ones that passed away, and I'm like, what if they think what if they are alive in another world where they're it's just like, because we don't really know what that is,
right? We don't have that knowing,
you know. And they're like, oh wow, I thought that was enemy, you know, and then they live this long life and they're, you know, but like, because we don't, it's so complex, like, you know, we don't really know anything about, we know a lot about things, but we don't know a lot about a lot. So
that is true. And that was one of those moments where I felt like, I was like, damn, I was like, I should just do what I know.
Yeah.
And one of the things was like, I know music. Mm-hmm. I know emotional expression. And I know that I can do that again through guitar and through singing. And because I stopped singing for a long time too. I honestly wasn't even sure if I'd ever sing again at some point.
What did you go to school for?
I went to school for creative writing and Afro-American studies.
Cool.
Yeah.
I went to school for creative writing too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was quite the experience.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So, and then also to go back to your saxophone playing, I also saw the video of you playing out in nature.
Oh yeah, in the
and
woods.
I was like, wow, that kind of when you were talking about the video you saw of I forget what was
Pharoah Sanders.
Pharoah Sanders was playing under the bridge. When you said that, I thought about you playing in nature is kind of like, you know, you're doing it now. You're making you're using the art. You have your craft and you're making it your own now. So
yeah,
that's
that's
awesome.
how it feels. Like it feels like it's mine again.
Yeah.
I feel like before, like I loved it before, and I didn't completely lose my love for it. But now it's like, oh, it's mine. Like, and I'm doing it better than I was then. Because I'm really like kind of what you said about like you're like, oh, you seem like someone who like really listens to what they feel, and I was like, yeah, like my intuition, like I feel like that's guided me more than, you know, my logic and my reasoning, like especially during those unknowns where you're like, damn, like the reasoning and the logic isn't helping me with like these things that I, you know, are so in the unknown. Like I be saying, the heart is the best compass you can
There's
follow.
neurons in your heart.
Yeah,
So,
I think they say like information reaches your heart by like it's like a really small amount of time, but it reaches the heart first before the brain.
That's amazing.
Fact check me on that though, cause
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean,
I remember like reading like I was reading like research papers
I mean,
about
the fact
that.
that there are neurons in your heart proves that you think with your heart. So, and also one way to help you with, if you're a person who is listening or watching and you want to tap more into your intuition, one of the ways that you can tap into your intuition is actually through writing. Writing things down actually like opens yourself up to that, which is something that you do. You actually are also a writer. You were telling us that you fill notebooks up with this information and just like things that you see and yeah,
I got two of them.
Yes. And they're really nice looking notebooks too.
It's nice. It's just something about like being able to like finish it all the way too. That you're like, damn, like you're really like, damn, this is all my writing in this whole book. You're like, it really feels like you're writing books, you know. This was like the most recent one I just finished, but I started this one in like November
of this year.
Yeah, this past year.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And do you use like an ink pen, like, or do you use pencil? Or
I use my favorite pen to use. It's a I think a Pilot G2 pen, 0.7 millimeters. I love those.
Okay.
Those are smooth. I like them. And then I have a fountain pen too.
Do you prefer black ink or blue ink?
I prefer black ink, but like I feel like I'm always experimenting like visually with how my journal can look, cause I use like a lot of color too. Like I drop pictures like within my entries. Like I like cut things out and glue them, like put them in, and I think I had different eras when I was journaling that I would like really switch out. Like my entries were like, all right, I got the black ink, I got the red ink, I got the blue ink, and it was kind of the purple ink too. And it was just depending on how I felt that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, so get yourself a book and fill your cup up. I'm not sure if you heard of the Artist Way.
I did the Artist Way. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So she
like
talks about the morning pages and filling up your artist cup, filling up your cup as an artist, in different ways. So, and that's a great way to do so. So I also see, because I did some research, I was like all on your Instagram. And I see that you have Nigerian roots, right? Yeah. So your mom is Nigerian. So yes. You look a lot like her too.
I appreciate that. That's a compliment.
Yes. So do you like, how can like does your Nigerian heritage influence your artistry?
That's a great question, and it does, but not in the ways that maybe you would expect.
Okay.
Because, so when I was growing up, I knew my mom was Nigerian. Mind you, she also was like, when she came to the States, she was the only person in her family who had like left and like transitioned here at that time.
So So she transitioned to America by herself? Wow.
Yeah. And in more recent years, I've had conversations with her. Because, when you're younger and you hear the story, like, okay. But then when you get to the age of, like, where I'm the age that she left, or, like, you're past the age, you're a little older than the age, then, like, oh, then when she transitioned from a completely different continent to America by yourself. And so I was asking her questions like, yeah, what was that like? Like, how did you adjust, like, to being away from your, like, family? She was part of a family of, like, she's, like, one of 8 siblings.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just interesting, like, knowing that she did that on her own, and even like her name, her first name is actually, no, sorry, Mom, I don't know if you care if I'm saying this, but she don't care, but her first name is Faith.
Okay.
And her middle name is my grandfather's mother's name.
Okay.
Is the name that she had, and then he passed it on to her as a middle name. And then when she came to the States, she felt like, I don't know the word, but she just was like, she wanted to feel a closer tie to home, so she switched her middle name to be her first name, and so her name's Amita, and
Nice.
and that's like a shorter version of like the long, like, I can't even pronounce the long name, but it's very beautiful. I've like recorded her saying it before,
Yeah.
and I've just like listened to it because I'm like, it's such a beautiful name, and yeah, to the point that I want to give my, like, when I have my daughter, like, I want to give my daughter, like, my mom's name as a middle name. Yeah.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful family too.
Yeah, thank you.
You and your sister are beautiful, and your mom is beautiful. So, like, yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so that's awesome, and like the stories you shared with us too is like sounds magical. Like the listening to the music and dancing with your siblings, and like that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like very. Yeah, like, one thing I do appreciate about, like, I appreciate a lot of things about my mom, but one thing I appreciate about my mom is, like, she likes to be moved by music, and I'll say, like, because you asked about, like, how does, like, Nigerian heritage and the culture play into my artistry, and one of the ways is, like, the storytelling. Mm-hmm. So a lot of stuff that, when it comes to, like, my family's history, like, we only know so much because so much stuff wasn't written down. It's been passed in oral tradition, and so which is beautiful practice. But then also when it's like comes to, like, well, who does it get passed on to, and then trying to be like, oh, okay, like, who knows this, and so it's almost like figuring stuff out. It's like talking to people,
right?
And then try to talk to people while they're still alive, so you can try to get the information, and. But my mom, like, the way I was really connected, because she wasn't like one of the moms who was like, I don't know what, like, she wore the dresses, like, she had her Nigerian dresses, like, she made it, she had the fabric, she would make stuff for herself, she would make stuff, for us. She would, like, if we were in trouble, she would, like, count in her language, like, up to 5, like, kind of like 1, 2, 3, but she'd be like, oh, whoa, eva, eha, ine, ise. And so, like, it was like little things like that, but really her storytelling is, like, what I take from, because, it would be a thing where you could play a song that you don't know that she knows, and she said, oh my God, I haven't heard this song in 20 years. And then all of a sudden, you're like, well, where'd you hear this song? All you gotta do is ask her one question, and she'll just go. But she's such a good storyteller, you'll just be locked in, like, whoa. And I really like the way that she told stories when I was a kid. I've never heard someone tell stories so well. It's so engaging. Even stories that aren't hers. Like, she'd read a book or something. She, like, even like Bible stories. Like, she told Bible stories to me when I was a kid. Because when I was in church, I was like, bro, they're making this so uninteresting. My mom was like, well, I'll tell you an interesting version of it. And I'm like, you sound like, she make it sound like she was there. It's like that. But I take that from, like, my love for storytelling. Like, I really do, like, I'm very influenced by her. And also, like, my artist name, like, my full name is it's Solomon Roller, but my middle name is Osayi, and that's
Osayi. That's nice.
And that's a Nigerian name that my grandmother blessed me with. And so my artist name is Solomon Osayi. I just go by my first and my middle, because it's a way to honor that. Like, to me, having that is like honoring her. It's honoring, like, my grandfather. I was named after my grandfather. Like, his name was Solomon. And
Solomon's a name in the Bible.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and it's funny too, cause like I don't even know how, and I gotta ask my mom this, but I don't even know how he got his name, or if they know, or cause some people will say that, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't know if like the origin of like if that's why he got his name, or if there's like another story behind that. It's very interesting, but yeah, I think those are definitely the ways it plays into my artistry, and I like those are ways that I can honor it, like how I tell my stories, like my name, and then just like even doing the due diligence of like I honor my ancestors too. Like I have a place like in my room where like every morning I light a candle, I say all their names, and then I just talk, and like that's how.
Do you have pictures? Do you have their pictures?
Yeah.
Up?
I have the pictures. I have them framed. I have with my grandfather. I have a medallion of him that I carry around, especially on days where it's like maybe I gotta do something that's gonna be like tough or something I'm really nervous for. And you know, like those little pockets in your jeans where I think they call it the ring pocket. Is that what they call it? So, but it's like the pocket in your jeans where you can put really small things. But I put the medallion there, and I carry it with me on like days where I have just something I'm really nervous about or something that I'm like I just want to feel like really close.
That's so special.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, with that being said, what drives your creativity? Like all of this, where do you think it comes from? Are you just is it just something internal? Is just like your intuition? Like is this just something? It's just part of your nature.
I definitely feel like, honestly, yeah, I think it's part of my nature. But I have the theory that I think it's part of everyone's nature.
Absolutely.
I think some people just have an environment where it gets fostered more, and some people are in an environment where it gets shut down more. And I was luckily in an environment, though I didn't have a lot of like access to like community and like influences and representation. I at least had a home where my mom was like, we wanted to draw. My mom was like, here's paper and here's pencils, here's coloring tools, like here's paints, and like my sister, like well, both my sisters do visual art. One of them went to school for visual art, but like we music, all these different things, like they like I know sometimes it's the stereotype of like, oh, you come from like a Nigerian household, like the expectation is like you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be a lawyer, you're gonna be, and to a degree like that's true, but with my mom, like I'm grateful that my mom was never like you're gonna do this, you're gonna do. I think she just wanted to see us just like be exactly who we are and just wanted to support us through that. But I think what drives my creativity as a kid, I just like it was so natural to create. Yeah. Like I would draw comics, I would write stories, I would fill up notebooks with like short stories and stuff like that. But and then I got into music, I got into dancing and all these different things. But I guess in more recent times, what drives me? I think what drives me is like, actually I got a little poem I wrote. It's in there. This is one of the things that drives me. So I didn't name this poem, but this is just a short piece. It says, souls lost so young, at the prime of their glimmer, a sudden crash course into forever, the primordial songs lost in the ocean of potential, the music we can only dream of hearing that keeps us up at night. This is why I burn in the valley of the artist, why I must create. Wow. And I feel like that's how I feel. And I wrote that inspired off of the artist Jeff Buckley, because he's someone who died very young, and at the prime of his glimmer. And I think about the people who I think about people who didn't get to live their full lives. And even like my grandfather, like he had an untimely death. But that's also why I got his name, was because he was gone and my mom was pregnant with me. And so I think about like people who didn't get to finish like things that I'm sure they wanted to. And it's like stories. I remember I was watching this movie where it's like this guy, he's like basically going around collecting, he's experiencing it, and he's like collecting spirits, and so he can tell stories through song. And I kind of think about it like that, where it's like I'm trying to, like, as I dig deeper into creating art, I dig deeper into knowing myself. I dig deeper into knowing, like, the world around me, like connecting, like just feeling connected. Cause I felt so disconnected as a child, and art like makes me feel connected to people. Like that's like the fact that I'm here with y'all today is like that's special, you know. And so it's like from feeling so disconnected from the world as a kid to feeling so connected to myself in the world now, it's like and I'm like, oh, I want to see how much deeper can I go. And the deeper I go, I'm like, oh, there's stories that I really value and are worth telling that I didn't know I had. So I feel like I want to keep telling stories because of people who didn't get to tell all their stories.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing your story, your journey with us today. Yeah. Do you have any last words that you want to share with everyone?
Any last words? So grateful. I'm just grateful to be alive, and I'm grateful to be as loved as I am. And I think people should just really try to. Okay, so I say this because this is something a practice I've been doing. I think this would be nice for other people to do too, to feel like more love in their lives, feel more connected, to feel like they're being listened to and listening more. I started the thing called People Journal. And so basically, it's a way for me to, because I journal, but like I talk, I like trying to keep up with my friends, and I've been getting better about like initiating that more, especially my friends are so spread out across like the country. But every time I check in with someone that I love and care about, after the conversation, I'll sit for maybe 5 to 10 minutes and I'll check like things that they told me that I'm like, this feels important to like what's relevant to their lives right now. So that every time, like, it might be like a few little points, maybe it's like a full paragraph of like, this was our conversation, this is what they told me, this is where they're at in their life right now. And it's really special because like doing that practice, it's like I like to listen, but it's making me even listen more intently, to be like, oh, like how would I, like, almost put into words, like how would I describe where they're at in their life right now. And then being able to look back, and I put dates on them so I can look back and be like, damn, like, oh, we were talking about this was cool. And so even you can like being able to reference back to something like really detailed, like, yeah, last time you said this thing, and like I actually want to come back to that. And then, you know, it's like, I feel like it's just a really special way to let people know that you're listening.
That's
and
a beautiful idea. Yeah, that's an amazing exercise that you do. And I actually am inspired by that, and I actually want to try that out. I'll let you know how that goes for me. Because I actually write like if I'm on the phone for like business or like taking care of just like, you know, things I need to take care of, I actually do write that down. Like I write down the date, write down like who I spoke with, what the conversation was about, what questions I may have asked, and how if my problems was resolved or not. So why not do it with your loved ones, you know, or like, you know, and then in that type of way that you were explaining it. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. We are so grateful for you.
And
grateful that you were able to tell us your story and to share some tea with us. So yes, until next time, we'll see you again.